All right, everybody. We are here after a crazy game, a heart attack having game. It is Tape Don't Lie, Week 9 review. It is me and BD Williams. I'm Marcus Johnson. That is BD Williams. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, guys. Follow us. Follow, subscribe. We hit 2,000 subscribers, so we appreciate every single one of you guys who got us there. It's been a quick rise. We just started this in August. This November, we're already at 2K subscribers, so definitely appreciate every single one of you guys that come and join us. So, like I said, make sure you follow us on Twitter. I'm at the Mark John NFL. That's at BD Williams 18. We post content there too as well. So make sure you guys follow us there. And then, like I said, make sure you hit the subscribe button and let's get into it. So 31-26, Raiders over the Chargers. It was a crazy game. Raiders didn't run many offensive plays, so it was a little easier for me to chart.
Right.
It went a little easier for me on the charting side. It wasn't like one of those 80 play games that we've been having. But it was interesting that they were able to put up 31 points in 50 plays. I thought that was interesting. That was pretty telling to me. But it was a good performance by the offense overall. They just didn't run them many plays because the Chargers had the ball for most of the game. So it was pretty interesting.
Yeah. I'll just go out on a limb right here. That's my favorite win of the season.
Yeah.
We saw the Saints game, right? Obviously, home opener, right?
Yeah.
But there's so many calls against the Saints in that game that you could say the refs were involved in the outcome. You look at the Chiefs game, and it's just like that is not the way that the Chiefs played on either side of the ball coming into that game. So it's like a weird, almost like an asterisk game, right? Not taking anything away from the Raiders, but this Chargers team, they gave them the best shot. Like that was. They were firing all cylinders. I'll show you some of the scheme stuff that they've been doing, that they did on offense. That was really fun to watch.
Yeah.
And and it came down to the very end. I think it's important. We talked about this last week. Having younger players figuring out ways to win in different situations, like that's how you build up a playoff resume. So in Cleveland, it was weather. On the road. This time, it's like coming down to the wire. You got backups in the game, closing the game out for you on defense, right? So those are the kind of like situations that build up towards being able to and being ready if the Raiders do get to the playoffs, having those kind of situations under their belt. So that's why I love it. And it's a division rival, so you got to love that too.
Yeah, and what I really liked about this game is it kind of felt like they always showed that they were the better team because, like I said, the Chargers had the ball the whole game, and it didn't matter. You know what I mean? Like it. So it, and that's my thing this year is like I don't know how good this team is. I don't know if they're good or not. I need to see more. It's getting interesting for me though. I think these next couple of games are going to really tell us like who they are, if they really are a good team, and like are they like just because of the tough schedule they've been through, and they're 5-3, and they went out and they beat the Chargers, and Chargers been getting everybody tough games. They ain't like the Chargers just are like an easy out. They go out, they beat the Chargers.
Right.
The Saints are 6-2. They had a rough time with the Chargers. Had to go to OT, right?
Right.
So it's like how good is this team? That's the interesting thing for me, because we really don't know yet how good this team is, and we're gonna see. We're gonna find out. Hopefully they don't read too much into the headlines. There's not a lot of headlines about them right now to read into, and they don't go and go to the sleep mode playing Denver. But which I don't think this team will. Just kind of the way the leadership is on this team right now. But that's what I'm saying. It's like, how good is this team? And that's like the basic question I got going forward.
I think we're seeing an upward trajectory on both sides of the ball, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously the offense has been efficient all year, but we're seeing the run game starting to, take shape here, which is like, once that takes shape, it's like, this is a really, really, really good offense in the NFL.
Yeah.
Very balanced. So you have that going, and Obviously, defense is still a work in progress. It's going to be a work in progress all year, but I think we saw some good things, maybe some predictions of things to come for the Raiders defense. So that's what I'll talk about in my breakdown when we get there.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, cool. So let's just go ahead and get into it. I'm gonna go ahead and get into this offense. So let me go ahead and get this going. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and get into it. So the run game was really working, especially in the first half. Second half, a little slow down a little bit once Ingle got hurt, and they had to go a lot into 11 personnel, and they couldn't have. They don't have a backup fullback right now, so they had to really change up what they were doing. But one thing that did work throughout this whole game, which did need a fullback, was the pin pull sweep, right? So, we'll get into what the pin pull sweep is, but they use this to perfection. This was one of the best, probably the best run play that, that they ran all game. I mean, it's probably the most successful run play that they ran all game. As you see right here, here's the pin pull sweep. So you got two guards. The guard in the center be pulling, so it will be going on this side. On this play, it's going to be Gabe Jackson and Rodney Hudson there pulling, and Devin Booker is going to be taking it outside. So this is the Devin Booker touchdown. Devin Booker's having an excellent year, 6.7 yards per carry. He is balling. Is the best way to explain it. He is just balling out of control. So Devin Booker right here, you see it. Gabe Jackson coming around. Rodney Hudson had a good game on this play, and then Gabe Jackson opened it up, taking it out 43. Devin Booker finishes in the end zone. Now, Devin Booker bothers me because he carries the ball in the wrong hand every single time. I don't get it, bro. You're going to the right side. Put the ball in the right hand. It's just like it bothers me, bro. I can't stand it. But
he didn't even need to. He didn't even need to on that play. There's no.
But watch, he's gonna do it again here. Watch, it just bothers me. Here's a pin pull sweep. This time he got Denzel Good and Rodney Hudson. Oh, he got it in the right hand this time. But watch Rodney Hudson just take out two guys. Boom.
Oh. Yeah.
Boom. Like Rodney Hudson had a really good game. And we talk about his run blocking need to prove, but they got him in space, 15 yards. Bam. Right. And this was pretty constant all game. And then let's see, we getting Josh Jacobs into the fun. And Gabe Jackson is a beast on this play. He's a beast on this one. So we got this one here coming around the corner. Gabe Jackson, boom, just takes out 43, opens that up. Oh, it's 23 didn't want some, but 10 yards right there for Josh Jacobs. So that pin pull sweep was working. It was a pretty special thing to watch that keep going. So let's get into it. I got a lot of questions about this, right? So people want to know, like, what is wrong with Ruggs? What's going on? Like, what is the issue? Is it press? What is it? What's going on? So let's go ahead and check it out. Let's do a little deep dive here, right? So we're watching him. He's gonna be in press coverage. He's gonna be running basically a wheel route here, right? And Nelson Aguilar is gonna be below him. He's gonna be running kind of like a slant. Nelson Aguilar is gonna target here, but watch him in press, right? I mean, this release is just kind of weak. This is a weak release. It kind of like takes like a false step, and then he doesn't really give him anything, and he runs a 4-2, and I know that guy doesn't run a 4-2, and he's running with him step for step, right? So this release here, you just want to see a little bit. I like just give him a little bit of shake. I feel like if you just gave him a little bit, right, he can get some separation just because of his speed. But if he just releases like that, it's just kind of weak, and there's nothing that he really can do there. And that's kind of an issue that I'm seeing right now for Henry Ruggs. Okay, so let's check him out again here on this release. Here he is against Casey Hayward, right? He's not going to get the ball even targeted to the side really, but we're just watching Henry Ruggs, right? So here gets a little bit of more of a step, but even going into it, like Casey Hayward is what, 31? Why is he running step for step with Henry Ruggs? You know what I mean?
Never gets him stacked. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like against press, he doesn't have that speed that you usually see from him, right? And you can see full speed, like it's not the same. Casey Hayward's able to hang with him, even if he was a target there. I mean, he's not open. You know what I mean? Like, and Casey Hayward was all over him on that play, so he definitely has to work on his releases. And this is a different aspect of it. So you're gonna see him with a free release on this play, right? And he's gonna be running a kind of a post route with the dig underneath, the play action that they like to run, and free release, right? He's great separation, free release because of his speed. He's able to get full speed, right? But on this one, it's a little different. because this deals with him being on the same track with Carr. He's pointing to one direction and Carr's throwing in the other. Okay, so you'll see where this ball lands. This ball doesn't land out of bounds, right? It doesn't land out of bounds. It's where Carr was throwing this football, and you're gonna see a backside. It's gonna look even better backside when you see it. You'll be able to tell that where this ball lands is where Derek Carr expecting him to go. And if he goes there, who knows what happens on that play, right? And let's take it back a little bit, and you'll see it where the ball lands. Like if he keeps on the trajectory on the right trajectory on the post route, he might be right there. But I also want to show on this play just how wide open Nelson Agholor is. If he just came off of Henry Ruggs. Ruggs is open too. I'm not mad at him, but it's just like, man, if he just would have came off of him, bro, whew, that is 6, and they scored anyway, so it doesn't matter. All right, so let's watch Nelson Agholor now. So he comes out on the release, right? Good release, right? And he wants to get back to the outside because he knows where Derek Carr does. So he does a little bit of an arm over, fights through contact, gets back to where Derek Carr wants to throw this football, right? That's what Nelson Agholor is trying to do. He gets back to where he throws it, then he stacks him, tracks the football, touchdown, right? And that's what you want to see from Henry Ruggs too. He has a chance to get better and learn these type of things and these type of nuances because Casey Hayward has been a really good corner in the NFL for a long time, and you're gonna have to do some nuanced things like what Nelson Agholor did to beat him, right? And he just has to take some time to get better, right? But on this play, this is when we know that he has a lot of potential. Okay, so I want you guys to watch how his release on this one and how he does a nice little arm over. See, he does a nice little arm over to create separation at the top of the route, right? We'll see it again, arm over, create separation late. So that's what you want to see against press and tight coverage from Henry Ruggs. Then he does a nice job tracking the football. You just can't get his feet down though, right? So let's take it back just a little bit and watch it one more time. It's just that late, he stacks it just like Agholor. And so it's there. Like, this is not something that we should be like, okay, this guy is just a bust. It's over. Let's just get rid of him. Da 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 da. Right?
Who's saying that?
He's not CeeDee Lamb. He's not this guy. Right? He's just not as pro ready as some of these other guys. He's not Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson was a pro ready guy with a pro ready offense. You know what I mean? But what you're seeing is he still has the potential. He just has to get on the same page. He has to understand what Derek Carr is going to throw it to where he is trained to throw that football. There's no I'm throwing it to you where you're going. Derek Carr is throwing it to a spot. And that's where you saw the difference between Agholor knows that. So Agholor was fighting to get back to that spot that he knows Derek Carr is going to throw that football. And he got back there and was able to track the football, catch it, score a touchdown, right? Yeah. And I think that just like on that post route, if Ruggs kept on the right trajectory with the post route, he might catch that football. He might be able to turn up, because that ball wasn't thrown out of bounds. Like when I watched it on the broadcast, I was like, oh man, he missed him, threw it out of bounds. But watching all 22, that ball landed at a spot that Ruggs was supposed to get to. And I think they're just off on those type of things. And I think like even Renfrow on his throw, it was money. It was on a spot, and then everything with Derek Carr is with timing and understanding and things like that, and being able to get to where he wants you to throw the football. And if you're not there, you're not going to get the football. So, I think he just needs a little bit of work on that stuff, but I wouldn't panic. I'm not panicking because I still saw with the free release, they got to do more things with him, like the jet sweep. He's gotten 10 yards on both his jet sweeps that he's run this year. They got to do more stuff like that. They got to do more. I guess we didn't get a lot of yards against the Browns on one, but against the Saints, he did a good one. Against the this past week against Chargers, he had a good run on the jet sweeps. I think they got to get him more screens. They got to get him more touches that way. Work him a little bit underneath and give him some free releases. Like if he struggles with press, right, and you evaluate that through, 8 games of football, I think it's time maybe that I should move him around a little bit. Try to maybe run some of the drag routes I run with Waller, and target him on some of those mesh routes, right? they like to run mesh sometimes. Get him on some mesh, right? I mean, he's got all that speed. It's gonna be hard for them to stick with him on those crossers, on those mesh routes. And then you saw the crosser we saw there. I mean, they weren't with him. He beat 2 guys on the crosser with a free release. So I think there's a lot of things you can do that they're not doing. Like if you don't call him out and like, oh, he needs to be pressed better. Like, come on, John. Like, help him out. He can learn how to be pressed in the off season. That's what he's got to. Some of those things you just got to work it out right now. You just don't like want him to be pressed on the fly. I guess that's just my opinion, though. Maybe I'm crazy.
I mean, I'll say I got a few things. First
Okay.
of all, it looks like, I mean, remember he got hurt week 1. He had a knee.
Yeah.
So we don't know how close back to 100% he is, right?
That's a great point.
The other thing is, everyone's like, oh, we could have had CeeDee Lamb, we could have had Justin Jefferson, or people saying that stuff. Like, look at the records of the teams that those guys play for right now. They're down all the time. They're getting the ball thrown to them all the time, right? The Raiders have a winning record. They're like the only team with a winning record that took a wide receiver in the first round. Correct me if I'm wrong. I might be off on one of them. 49ers took.
No, they're 4-5. So you're right.
Oh, okay. So I'm right. There you go. So that's the not the whole reason, but you have to consider if those teams are always down, they're always trying to come back. They're going to be throwing the ball to their wide receivers a lot more.
Yeah.
Right. So there's that too. And then, I think it was really important to show the distinction, just like the attention to detail on that Nelson Aguilar touchdown catch. Like, you see all the little finite things that he had to do, right? The foot fire to beat press, right? The jab step to create that separation, get the guy stacked, and then slow down, right? So he has to, so the corner has to run through him, right? Slow him down so he can haul that catch in. Like, so much attention to detail. You don't necessarily come into the NFL knowing how to do all that stuff.
Exactly.
Right? And even the best route runners that come into the NFL, they don't have necessarily NFL, like elite NFL route runner. They're an elite college route runner, right?
Yeah.
So you have to learn some of these things that how to beat some of these guys who they get paid too. They're getting paid to stop corners, right? And so I think it's really important that you show that distinction. Henry Ruggs, I'm fully confident he's going to get there. And then on top of that, he's going to have the athleticism, the explosiveness that these other guys just won't ever have.
Exactly.
But I agree with you. I don't know why they're not manufacturing more touches. Maybe they are concerned about the knee or something like that. But the reason why I liked Henry Ruggs in this offense was because it was like Derek Carr loves throwing slants, take some slants to the crib. And I guess he's just having a hard time getting off that press, and that's the reason why he's not seeing so many slants.
They haven't called a slant with him. They called a slant with him once, but that was against Marshawn Lattimore. Like, give him a break.
So,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, so that's why I liked him. I like the run after catch potential, right?
Yeah.
And another thing, people who are down on him right now need to understand, he is the element of that speed. Like, defenses are having to account for it. You saw what happened when defenses didn't account for it. Right, Kansas City, right? They were jumping everything, and they just got exposed over the top. And I think since then, people are hanging back on these guys. They're playing the two-man kind of stuff. They're playing the shell coverages. They're keeping their safeties deep. They're not jumping stuff like nearly as much. That's opening up the offense. So he's having an impact, even if it's not a statistical impact. He's still having a big impact.
Oh, he has a huge impact. You can see it.
Yeah. Add some context, Raiders fans. Henry Ruggs is making a big impact on this offense, even if he's not, blowing up the fantasy stat sheet. All right, guys, come on. This is real football here.
Yeah. And you make a good point. I mean, and the safety's usually always to Ruggs' side too. So I mean, they really are watching him. Yeah. They are. I mean, that's why Aguilar's eating still. I mean, Aguilar's able to eat. Renfro's able to eat. I mean, Waller's gonna. I mean, they're really trying to stop Waller too. But Waller gets the targets, and I think that people need to get. I think that's what a lot of people don't understand, and they get frustrated that Ruggs doesn't get the targets, but the best receiver on the team is still Darren Waller, so he's gonna get the targets, bro. I mean, he should get the targets. Like, there's really no discussion around it to me. I mean, like,
Yeah, they're gonna manufacture touches to him first in the
Oh,
passing game, right?
100%, right? And
Yeah.
so,
I just don't
yeah,
understand what people are complaining about. The Raiders have a winning record. Like, what do you guys want to see here? They
bro,
won.
there's a lot of art. It's not just fans. It's the writers too. The Raiders are 5-3, but what's wrong with Henry Ruggs? Like
Yeah,
it's,
like
it's like,
it's just clickbait. Come on, guys. Like, would you rather him get 7, 8 targets a game and the Raiders have a losing record? Come on, like they're winning. So who cares at that point? It's just a bonus. You know.
yeah, man. It's crazy, bro. It's so yeah. I mean, so if Ruggs can develop, which I think he will, it'll be fine. Everything will be fine. I think the Raiders' offense looks really good. A couple other notes I will point out. Brandon Parker still needs a lot of work. Let's not get too crazy. Um, Melvin Ingram was giving him the business. Let's just say that he did all right against some of the other guys. I think he's more comfortable at left tackle.
Yeah.
That definitely showed. Definitely more comfortable, but he just does that. Why did he like leans forward? And like Melvin Ingram would just get him with the same move every single time. I'm like, bro, he keeps getting you with the spin move. Stop leaning forward. He gets you to. He knows you're gonna lean, and then
Yeah.
he would lean, and he would just spin off it, and he was right at Derek. Like,
Um. Off of Brandon Parker. Sorry.
you good?
How often have you seen the Raiders run that pin and pull scheme on the outside?
I mean, I've seen them run it before, but they only run it against certain teams. I remember against the Chiefs in 2018, they ran it a lot.
Hmm.
With Doug Martin, and they got a lot of chunk yards in that game. They put up like 33 points on them. And with Jalen Bashar was getting a lot of yards with that pin and pull. So they it's something that they do, but they don't do it a lot really. I don't know what they must have saw something on tape that they thought they can get outside. To be honest, I think that's what it was.
Yeah. Clearly.
Yeah.
Clearly. Yeah, that was it was fun watching the running backs go to work and then the wide receivers close it out at the end. Again,
Hmm.
once his offense is firing on all cylinders, I know I sound like a homer, but like this is a legit offense. Like they can
Bro,
do
you're
anything.
100% right. You're like it is legit offense, and just the running game get going, and then Devin Booker is playing really well, right? And Jacobs didn't get as many carries, and we could talk about if he's hurt, but I don't know if they were like, they were like, maybe we should get him some more looks a little bit, just because he's a little bit more explosive right now, right? And Jacobs
He's
did
got the
his
fresh
job too.
legs. He's got the fresh legs. Yeah,
Yeah, he got the
go
fresh
for it.
legs, and Jacobs looked really good today this week too. Jacobs looked awesome this week too. He really
Yeah.
did. So I think that that duo is perfect. We didn't think about that at the beginning of the year, but like right now, that's a great duo.
Well, I mean, Devin Booker's having his best tape so far of his career.
Yeah, for sure, bro. Like
He's
it
like
is. It
5
is.
years in, 5 years into his career. This is
Yeah.
his best. This is
He
his
looks like he
best
did
tape.
at Utah finally, bro.
Right. Right.
Look like
He's looking like he did back at Grant High School. Shout out, my Sacramento peeps. Okay. Booker is a Sacktown legend. Okay, he's
oh yeah.
one of the
Okay.
best running backs ever in the city.
Okay. Maybe he feels like he's representing now, maybe a little bit. Even though it's Vegas, he still feels like he's representing the Bay.
Yeah, right. Represent Northern California a little bit. Yeah.
A little bit, a little bit. All right, man. So yeah, I mean, so yeah, just everybody calm down, Brandon Parker. That's all I'm saying. Just calm down. I know. There's a lot of, oh my God, because if he has a bad game this week, I don't want you guys to all, start jumping on him. I just want you to lower your expectations. He's not. He does not become a good tackle all of a sudden. He got beat a lot. He did have some better sets though. I'll give him that. But I just don't know why he leans. Like I don't like they can't coach that out of him.
He's
I don't
bending at the waist, right? He's
yeah,
when you go back into bad habits when you're under duress, you know. So
but it was
Melvin,
like Melvin Ingram knew it too. Like Melvin Ingram knew that he leans. It's like
yeah,
he knew it, so he would like bait him to lean, and as soon as he baited him, he would just spin off. Like Brandon, he keeps doing the same move to you, bro. He said it 3 times. Figure it out. Help yourself out. But like like an average guy though, he was doing better against the average guys. I'll give him
okay,
that. It was just like
right.
Bradley Chubb's coming this week though. That's all I'm saying.
Well, Colt Miller's gonna be back.
I hope so.
So two things.
Sam Young was just as bad. So
yeah, Sam Young wasn't really good. So two things. Raider Nation. Okay. I apologize because we said Colton Miller's playing, right? We were wrong.
yeah, we were.
As soon as the game started and I saw Brandon Parker and Sam Young, I was like, oh, bro, like this could be rough here. But to their credit, they did all right. They did decent.
Yeah, he did all right. I'm a little hard on him, but I just don't want people to be like,
right.
There is still some bad sets there. That's all I'm gonna say. There's still some bad sets.
The other apology, the correction I'll put is this is actually pretty embarrassing. So yeah. So I said that Kenneth Murray was the linebacker number 44 for the Chargers. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why I was thinking that. I really don't know why I was thinking that. It was Kaiser White, the guy who was sucking in coverage. If you watch the last that's harsh. He's an NFL guy, so I do have a lot of respect for these guys. He was really struggling in coverage, this Kaiser White, number 44. And I thought that it was Kenneth Murray. I don't know why I thought that. Some people pointed out they were like, "Yo, do your research." The one Charger fan in the world viewed our page, and he said, "Do your research." But here's how I know Chargers don't have fans. Here's how I know Chargers don't have fans. When we did the Buccaneers preview, we got like 5,000 views on that video, right?
Yeah.
When we and so many Buccaneers fans were in the comments. When we did the Browns preview, we had like 5,000 views on that one. I mean, don't quote me. I can't remember the exact amount, right? And then when we did the Chargers preview, we had like less than 2,000 views. So it was just Raiders fans that tuned in because Chargers fans don't exist. Once again,
we appreciate y'all though, man. We appreciate every single one of you Raiders fans that tuned in. So,
but you could tell when there's two fan bases tuning in versus one fan base. It was like literally less than half of the views. So
that is true. That's hilarious. Actually,
because Chargers fans don't exist. The one that did exist though. I apologize to you, sir. You're right. It's embarrassing. Kenneth Murray is 56. Kaiser White is 44. You guys still lost though, so
it's terrible. All right, bro. I do want to say one more thing before we get to defense. It was pretty interesting. The Chargers did kind of put the straps on the Raiders offense, so I did think that was interesting. There wasn't a lot of guys open, but when there was, Carr was hit him. But man, they had a good game plan. They did. I'll give them that.
Yeah, I think that their secondary is good. We talked about it. I thought their secondary was good. But what we did predict was that the run game was going to work against them. Mm-hmm. And then once the run game started working, we saw the pass game start to open up. So
exactly,
they work hand in hand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, dog. So let's go ahead and get into this defense. Let's go ahead and check it out.
Okay. So we're going to talk about the third down defense for the Raiders here. Okay. And we'll just go back. We're going to look at basically every third and long in the game. And the Raiders come out first third and long that they get into. This is the second drive. They're in cover one rat, right? Mm-hmm. And this is Trayvon Mullen who goes corner over. He's lined up on Keenan Allen, and he gets beat at the top of the route right there. Okay, Chargers convert, right? So let's see how do the Raiders adjust? Okay, they come back with a different call. Instead of cover one rat, they're doing cover one cross, where Eric Harris is now going to be the rat in the middle of the field, and he's going to try to pick up one of these vertical routes. Okay, and they're in a good call. But what happens is the Chargers put Keenan Allen in the backfield. He's a back right now, right? So that's a little confusing. You got Nevin Lawson who's matched up on him, and he has to go over the screen, kind of like a basketball thing, right?
Yeah.
And it's just a perfect call. It's literally a perfect call. This is fantastic play calling by the Chargers, right? Mm-hmm. Chargers convert. Even though the Raiders were in, I would say, a really good call for that. It was just a lot of trickeration here by putting Keenan Allen in the backfield, getting that release, getting that free release for him, making Nevin Lawson go over the screen there. So I think it was a good call, but it was an even better call by the Chargers. All right. So later on in the games, it's the second quarter. Okay, they end up putting in their dime package. All right, and they're in their dime package and they're playing a version of cover one, but they're getting a lot of doubles. Okay, so we got a double here with Abram and Littleton. We got a double here with Mullen and Amik Robertson at the top of the screen. And then this is actually Justin Herbert's first read. Lawson is putting the straps on Mike Williams and Joyner is closing. Okay, Herbert sees it and he knows he has nowhere to go, so he has to run. Raiders get a stop there on third down. Now, granted, they did run it in on fourth down, but the third down defense held up on that one and they made the Chargers really earn it. Okay, this is another one where they get into the dime package blitz simulated pressure, where they're only sending 4 guys, but it feels like a blitz, or it feels like a blitz, but there's only 4 guys coming. What I really love about this is, activating Jonathan Abram in the blitz game, using that explosiveness, that closing speed that he has to be the 4th rusher. And I think that's the key really to unlocking this defense here. And what I love about this one is you see this guard, he's worried about all these guys rushing on the interior. He's a little late picking up Abram. Abram kind of makes Herbert move. And then you look at this running back right here, he's stepping up, can't help out, and Nassib gets the sack. Okay, so it's causing a lot of confusion, even though they're only sending 4 guys. All right, so the Raiders get a stop. Okay, they're back to cover 1 cross here to take away these routes in the middle of the field. Corey Littleton's manned on Hunter Henry, and he gets beat. Eric Harris slips. It'll happen. Okay, good call, bad execution. Chargers convert. All right, they're back in their dime package here, but they're playing 2-man, and they get this little stack. They get a little rub route. You could say that's offensive pass interference or whatever. Okay, but they get a conversion on a 3rd and long. Okay, which was unfortunate. I'm going to show you guys the end zone angle here, though, because I think that it's interesting, and we'll see what happens. But Abram right here is spying. He's not actually rushing. And if he spies from just a little bit more depth, he could get in the passing lane here and maybe, get a pass deflection or even an interception. So we'll see if that's how the Raiders, deploy him later on when they are spying him. Okay, so they get back into this cover 1 cross. And Isaiah Johnson, he's at the bottom of the screen. Okay, patient, but he gets, out of phase a little bit. He's got to, get on his horse, chase down, and just look at the fight to the finish here to make sure that Mike Williams can't catch this ball right here. This has nothing to do with scheme. This is just a player making a play. Okay, so Isaiah Johnson, 3 pass breakups. Okay, and he didn't even start the game. Gotta love that.
I know.
Here's another one. They're staying in their cover 1 cross. It's working. Okay, and Corey Littleton, he's in man coverage on Hunter Henry. And what I love about this, when you're in cover 1, you want to be outside leverage because you got your help in the middle of the field. And immediately, Corey Littleton, he gets beat outside. Okay, but watch what he does. Okay, when he gets beat outside, he works immediately to get back into that outside leverage position with a little wraparound technique here. Disrupts the timing of this enough to make sure that it's not an easy pitch and catch. And we can see it a little better here from the end zone angle. Right there, you see him post, Hunter Henry up a little bit, disrupt the timing of this, prevent it from being a touchdown. So that's great coverage by Corey Littleton. Now, next quarter, I believe this is the 4th quarter. Same exact situation, and they get Corey Littleton for a pass interference. So Chargers convert. It's going to go both ways. Okay, it is what it is. All right. This is an example of their nickel Magic Silver Blitz package. We talked about this earlier in the year on the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, and this one almost got home. It did end up disrupting the play. Okay, and this ended up being a 3rd down stop for the Raiders. Okay, now we talked about this before when Abram ran this Magic Silver Blitz against the Saints. He was doing too much stutters, too much juke moves, right? And the point of him blitzing is he needs to declare a path and open up, okay? And make LaMarcus Joyner's job easier, okay? So he does it this time. He takes that wide path. This tackle sets out to him. And now LaMarcus Joyner, all he has to do is beat the back, okay, on the inside. Okay, this is a better executed blitz. We're finally seeing the blitzes be better executed. Okay, So that's the plus of all this. And then you got to also admire Corey Littleton's hustle and effort to make this, and and prevent Herbert literally from getting like an extra inch, and that would have been a first down. So you got to admire the hustle and effort right there. I know people are down on Corey Littleton, but he did make some good plays on third down. That might have been not easy to see. And then we also got to talk about the way that Isaiah Johnson closed the game out. He's impressed me. Goal line fades. This is a do or die moment. Fights to the finish there. Never gives up on that play. Goes all the way down to the ground and rakes that ball out. And then again, on the very last play, you got the 6'8". You got this tight end is literally 6'8", guys. Okay. And there's no way you're gonna be able to elevate. And again, fights to the finish, breaks the ball out, closes the game. So the Raiders won more third downs than they lost in this game, which is rare, honestly, for the Raiders. Okay, and this is an offense that has been putting up points, and they've been pushing teams and going the distance. And just Isaiah Johnson's performance alone, on like 3 third down stops.
Yeah.
For a guy who hasn't even started a game in his NFL career yet, gotta get this guy more involved, especially because I think when he has been in spot duty before, I don't think that he's really in the rhythm of the game. Mm-hmm. But now he's in spot. He's playing through the ebbs and flows of the game. I think that you saw what he can be for this defense. So that's super exciting to see about it. Some of the blitz calls, getting better communication, better execution on blitz calls, using Jonathan Abram in these, dime packages, and, being that fourth rusher. I think that's super exciting. And has Corey Littleton played good? Played well? No. He's not great in zone. He's like not amazing against the run. Okay. But notice all that cover one cross. That's when you have one safety, he's deep middle, and then you have the other safety playing that rat, the low hole defender. Okay. Mm-hmm. You can only play that if your linebacker is able to cover a tight end. Okay. So a lot of the things that the Raiders are doing that's different on defense and is working, it's because they have the personnel now where Paul Guenther is fine putting Corey Littleton in some of these situations. Okay. So yes, we would all love to see Corey Littleton make a bigger impact. We would all love to see it, but he was brought to the Raiders to be a cover guy, right? And he's doing that part of it. He can improve in basically every other area, but when it comes to man coverage, he's still really good. He's not like a lockdown. He's a linebacker.
Linebacker.
He's not a corner, okay, but he's really good in man coverage. That's why the Raiders brought him here, to erase tight ends, not constantly get beat by tight ends. Okay, have tight ends been having a field day on this defense like they have like the last 10 years? No. And that's because Corey Littleton. So understand what his role, what the impact that he makes isn't going to be like interceptions every game or like rushing off the edge and getting sacks and all this stuff. Just like be a little bit more reasonable about it. Corey Littleton is doing just fine in this defense. He's not amazing, I know. I would love to see him, make a bigger impact, but the impact that he is making, it is palpable. You can see it on film. The Raiders are doing a lot of different things, and it really is about Corey Littleton and Jonathan Abram, how they move those guys around.
That's very interesting. I thought Isaiah Johnson had a definitely a game where he earned more snaps. I don't think that they're gonna take him out the game anymore. Like I think when you have a game like that, especially when how you ended the game with those 2 pass breakups, like any coach would be like, that was like teach tape, bro. To be honest, some of those pass breakups at the end, how you never give up and you always play through the hands. Right, especially the last one, bro, because that guy had that ball. He had that catch, and he kept fighting, and he just fought enough to pull the ball out at the end, right? Because he caught that football. Like it wasn't Mike Williams never caught the football on the first one. Daniel Parham, he had both hands on it and was secured that football, and Johnson just fought. He gave it his all, and There's, John Gruden, those guys loved every single moment of that because they, that the Gruden grinders, all that stuff, this fight, never giving up,
Yeah.
So he's going to get more playing time.
That's
No
the
matter
kind
what.
of stuff that separates, because all three of the pass breakups that he had, right?
Hmm.
It was the fight to the finish, right? Like that's what it's not like he made a perfect break and got his hand in there as soon as the ball arrived or anything like that. It was like, no, the wide receiver had the hands on it and he was just punching up, breaking down. That's perfect. And really that's like the biggest difference, honestly, between like an okay corner and a good corner in the NFL.
Yeah.
Because like everyone, like they can do everything else like up to the point to the catch point the same. It's just the guys who consistently disrupt the catch point. Those are the guys who we hear about every week, and we don't hear about the guys who maybe they do all the other things right, but it's just like when they get to the catch point, it's not the same. So I'm not saying that Isaiah Johnson is going to be a household name, but that's an equality that's harder, I would say, to teach than like some footwork, some hand placement when he's in press, things like that. And really, not that I would give Paul Guenther this much credit, but the best defenses right now in the NFL, they have, like you've heard, you create your wide receiver core like a basketball team,
Mm-hmm.
right? You got you got your big guys and you got your little guys, right? And so you want to have like a complementary wide receiver core. You don't want to have like 5 wide receivers who are all the same, right?
Yeah,
The
exactly.
same goes for your secondary. Now, you want the big corners who can match up against these bigger wide receivers and tight ends, and then you want your smaller corners who can match up against these slot guys, these terrific route runners, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that Isaiah Johnson, now he is one of those guys that once he gets his legs underneath him, the Raiders could bring him in and just say, hey, we're going to match you up on the tight end. We're going to match you up on this bigger wide receiver. They can play matchup kind of style of defense, which they have been doing more of, meaning Nevin Lawson has a certain guy, Trayvon Mullen has a certain guy, right? And especially when there's all the wide receivers are on one side, they're not just like, oh, I'm the slot, so I'm going to play the slot guy, right? They're like picking who they're going to take. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So they have been doing more of that. I think Isaiah Johnson adds another element to that. And I would love to see him kind of how the way that Patriots use Jawan Williams, having a role like that for Isaiah Johnson, even if he's not a starter, right? Mm-hmm. Having a role like that where he's like, okay, this is the week where they got a big wide receiver, they got a tight end that loves to catch the ball. We're going to use you on that guy. I would love to see that.
Yeah, and I think he has the ability to hang with those guys. I mean, that's kind of what he did with Mike Williams this week. So I think that's a good observation. I think the secondary is very young and has a lot of potential. So, for the future, and that's probably one of my favorite things about this defense right now is the secondary and what we see for them in the future. So, what did you think about the defensive line? What did you think about how they played this game?
These guys got to finish, man. These guys got to finish. They let too many sacks slip out, and I think they did the same thing with Teddy Bridgewater in the beginning of the year. Same thing with Patrick Mahomes, where they were there, but they just weren't finishing enough, Mm-hmm. So would love to see that. I'm not worried about, because some people are down about some of the runs, and I don't think that the Raiders were like even attempting to stop the run this week. They were just like, no, they were just shooting gaps, And so you're gonna get ran on when it when it was like a situation where it was like obviously a run, right? They were playing, that build a wall style of defensive line. But I remember one play they got caught on. It was like a 2nd and 6, and they ended up running the ball, but like you could tell, like they were just rushing the passer on that play, right? Okay. And look, you can't have it both ways, guys. You can't have it both ways. All right. You either want these guys to get sacks, okay, or you want them to stop the run. And it's like a very rare, like elite defensive line that could do both at the same time. Okay. You got to have like, a Khalil Mack on one side and a Von Miller on the other side and Aaron Donald in the middle, or, stuff like that's what you got to have if you got if you want just like complete utter domination in the trenches. But it's got to be a game plan thing, game plan specific. They were getting upfield, so they got gashed on a little on some run plays, you know.
Mhm.
But I think that the point was like they were just like we're trying to get after this guy Justin Herbert. And to their credit, I mean, I don't know how much you saw of it on film, but they were doing a lot of little, like the quarterback option type of stuff
Mhm.
in those third and short situations,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah, that's tough, especially I don't know how much film that they had on them, running like the little option plays.
Yeah.
And so I think that caught the Raiders off guard a little bit on defense. Again, Raiders won. They closed the game out on defense, which
Yeah.
is like rare,
I know.
since the Khalil Mack days. How often has that happened for the Raiders to close the game out on defense? So you got to take the silver linings where they come. I do think that in the beginning of the game you saw Clelin Ferrell being disruptive. Then towards the end of the game, like the middle parts of the game, Carl Nassib was having some good snaps.
Mhm.
And then Max Crosby kind of, had some of these some splash plays towards the end. So you would love to see these guys all play well the entirety of the game, but it is what it is right now. I'm not down on them. I'm not down on them on the defensive line, but obviously they can play better.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, the defense is still they're still a little leaky. I will say that they're a little leaky sometimes, but if they're able to just to make some stops, right, a couple stops here and there, I think they could take this a long way, right? Yeah, because the offense is obviously, like I said, they only ran 50 plays and they scored 31 points, so they didn't need the ball that much. And
Right.
if you have an offense that's being explosive like that at this point in time, man, it's really good. It's a good look.
Yeah. So let's transition.
Okay.
Okay. So I got a couple of people asking me who I think the Raiders should target in the draft this upcoming
Okay.
season. Okay.
Okay.
So I won't put you on the spot. I'm putting you on the spot a little bit, but I'll go first. Okay. So
Okay.
I'll go on defense first. Okay. We'll see. We'll do some research and figure out what film we could add to our commentary here to just for the listeners or for the audience to know. We're getting a lot of copyright flags, guys. So we're trying to avoid that. So we're only going to put in the things that we know, won't get our video taken down or flagged. So we'll see if we can add some footage.
Yeah.
But so I'll go first on defense, and then if you're ready to go on offense, if you have a guy already that you're thinking about, or you can think about it while I'm talking. All right.
Okay.
So on defense, okay, the Raiders have invested, 2 free agent linebackers. How many draft picks and free agents on the offensive line, things like that. They got all these corners now, but I think that what is still missing is having like an actual impact safety next to Jonathan Abram. Okay. And maybe because I'm a defensive back, my whole life, and that's the position I love watching the most is corner and safety. I might be a little biased here. Obviously, It's not a great defense. So a first round caliber player at any level of defense would be fine with me, But so I'll talk about my guy, Trayvon Moehrig from TCU.
Okay.
Okay. Trayvon Moehrig from TCU. When I was watching Jeff Gladney last year, the corner from TCU, I was like, wait, who is this guy, number 7, the safety? This is like the best safety that I've seen this year. Okay. And he was just making all these splash plays, big hits, pass breakups. If he was playing in the box, if he was playing in the middle of the field. Okay. And he's a big hitter. I think that he complements John Abram well because he's better. The way that they want to use John Abram, they want to use him in the box, blitzing and the dime packages. I think you need to have a guy who's more impactful than Eric Harris or Jeff Heath back there, right? These are journeyman type of guys. No disrespect to them. I admire their hustle and grind and everything like that, but they're not impact players. And so having a guy, I think, like that in the back end to be impact player, especially when you're going to have to go against Patrick Mahomes, and now Justin Herbert, right?
Yep.
For like the next 10 years, probably. You
Hmm.
gotta have some some ball hawks back there. For as good as Trayvon Mullen is, he's got hands made of brick. Okay, he's not getting many interceptions, if at all, right?
Yeah.
Damon Arnett has a cast on his hand. He's not going to get any interceptions. Like, we don't know if the thumb is always going to be a problem for him, you know?
Yeah.
So you've got to have some guys who can haul in some interceptions. And Trayvon Morig, just his ability, even though he's a big guy, to play in the middle as a center fielder and the ball skills that he has, I think would really benefit this defense.
Okay. Okay. So if I'm going to go offense, I'm going to go with the kind of the obvious thing I think is kind of glaring right here, which is I think they should take a tackle if they're going offense. Um, I know, prayers up to Trent Brown dealing with all the issues, but who knows what they're going to do with Trent Brown playing right tackle. It's not a for sure thing. They can't have a journeyman
Yeah,
back there anymore.
right.
Even if they do bring him back, there's nothing wrong with taking a tackle early. And a guy I really like who's playing left tackle right now is Liam Eckenberg from Notre Dame. I think he's really a strong left tackle. He's very good with his technique. I mean, I've done a huge deep dive into Liam. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, but I know last year he only gave up 23 pressures, starting at left tackle, right? And then his first year in 2018, and only 12 pressures in 2019. So he is a good left tackle for where I expect the Raiders to be picking, right? Because I really do think they're going to be in the playoff race, right? So from where I expect them to be picking, I expect Liam Eckenberg to be on the board. And I think it's somebody that Mike Mayock would like because he's going to be a senior. He's going to have a lot of pedigree. He's going to come from a tough program. Uh, I mean, they beat Clemson, so he's going to watch that game, right? They beat Clemson this week. So, Mayock's going to watch that game. So I think Liam Eckenberg is somebody that I'm definitely looking at for the Raiders offensively. I just don't think they're going to go offense in the first round, to be honest. And if they do, I do think that it will be tackle though.
I see now if Trent Brown's status is up in the air, I wouldn't be surprised if they can tackle. Like
Yeah.
that's what Gruden is gonna. He'll take the offensive tackle before he'll take an impact player on defense.
Yeah.
You know,
They almost took a tackle over Ruggs. You know that, right?
really?
Yeah.
I didn't hear that.
There was a report. Justina Anderson from ESPN. She said that the Raiders were debating of whether taking Tristan Wirfs.
And he's balling this year.
It was a debate because I don't remember. You remember the combine when he ran his 40? There was a video of Tom Cable and Mike Mayock like looking at each other like, "Oh my god!" So,
right. And that's the thing about Colton Miller. Colton Miller was also like a freak at the combine too.
Yeah,
know.
So I bet Tom Cable loves him some athletic tackles. I bet he was pounding the table.
Especially after everything they gave him in Seattle, they were like, "You're a really good coach, right? So we're gonna give you only 5th round or later tackles to work with. You good with that, Tom Cable?" And everyone was like, "Tom Cable sucks," and he's getting like these former basketball players who've never played football in their life, like block for Russell Wilson. Yeah. So Tom Cable's getting some credit. I was probably harsh on him too because when he came from Seattle, I was like,
"Oh yeah,
Seattle offense line sucks. Like, what's going on here?" But then when you actually like looked at the context and like found out that they never gave him good talent, they were just a bunch of development guys that he was having to work with. Now that's why the first thing that they did, they were like, "Give me this big, athletic, tall tackle that has the tools." That was their first pick with Tom Cable. Like that's. Yeah. And Tom Cable was like super involved in picking that guy. And
he used to be involved in Brandon Parker though too. I mean, which is the same thing. Brandon Parker's tall, long, athletic tackle, and the same thing with Tristan Wirfs. I mean, that's why I feel like that he was banging the table like that for a huge athletic tackle. But
I like tackle. I was definitely thinking offensive line because I mean position players, skill players they're sewn up. They're sewn up right now.
Not in the first round.
Yeah, not in the first round, no way. So yeah, definitely offensive line. I was with you right there, 100%. And it's easy. You don't, unless you have like a Quentin Nelson, like a potential all-time player at guard. You're not going in the first round. This card.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
So yeah, tackle. Yes, I like that.
I do want to say for safety, man, you gotta watch Paris Ford, bro. I'm telling you.
I'll watch him. I haven't watched him. I haven't gotten into any of these guys yet. I'm watching Raiders film.
He's nice, bro.
So
nice.
I'll check out
I know. We'll wait till the offseason, but
yeah, I'll definitely check him out.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Trust me. I'm gonna watch. Like, as soon as Raiders football is done, I can't go like more than a week without being like, all right, I'm just gonna watch the draft prospects now. Like, I gotta watch football. You feel me?
Yeah, I'm the same way, bro. I'm the same way.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so yeah, I think we covered most everything here. Anything else you want to leave us with, sir?
Not really, man. Just for another good week. Raiders are 5-3. Nobody had them at 5-3 at some point. I know. I see some. I know some of y'all had them at 2-6. I remember your little schedules y'all put out there. But yeah, they're 5-3. It's. I think the craziest part of the season is what's been happening to Marcus Mariota. I think it's one of the craziest parts of this season. Which is just interesting that he's just QB3 now. Just Nathan, we're one player away from Nathan Peterman is just terrifying to me. Just Mario, get it together, bro. That's what I'm gonna say. You need to get it together because Derek Carr is running now, so I need you to get it together.
Look, we said this. We said this earlier. We're like, look, Mariota is not gonna get this playbook. Okay, I'm sorry, but it's actually a shame because. Well, obviously, like knock on wood, hopefully Derek Carr doesn't get hurt at all. We don't ever have to figure this out. Yeah. But like if a backup were to come in, I would much rather see Mariota and just be like, screw the playbook, just like go ball out,
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm telling you. He needs to get it together because if this team is halfway decent and let's say Derek Carr has to miss a game, like no, we can't. No. I'd 100% rather put Mariota out there if that had to happen. So he needs to get it together. That's my message to him. Let's go, bro.
Alec Ingold was a quarterback in high school.
Oh, God.
He went to Wisconsin as an athlete. Okay, so if you're not hip to high school recruiting, when you don't know what position a guy will play because he's done so many positions in high school and he's a baller, okay, you make him an athlete. Okay, you recruit him as an athlete, and then they'll figure it out later what position he'll play. All right. Yeah. So everyone was like, "Oh, Alec Ingold is kind of athletic. Like he was a quarterback. He was an option quarterback in high school. He went to Wisconsin as an athlete. Like you only see like the illest recruits go in as athletes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like the punt returners. Like, is he a wide receiver? Is he a corner? Like that's the kind of guys who are labeled athletes. That's Alec Ingold. He should be the backup quarterback. Okay, that's all.
He should be the backup quarterback.
Taysom Hill 2.0. Okay, baby.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, the Raiders are. I hope his rib injury is that bad because the Raiders are gonna miss him big time.
Yeah, for sure,
dude. For sure.
Yeah, they don't have anyone else that could even replicate that either. It's not like they have like Derrick Henry now. It's not like they have like a squaddier tight end, who's like a dangerous blocker. Like that doesn't exist on this team. Like some offenses have, like their third tight end. Is he a H-back? Is he a fullback? Is he a tight end? Like that. Not the Raiders. They got all tall guys, or Derrick Henry is just a route runner. He's not like a blocking tight end. He's like a big slot. So they don't have anyone that could replicate that. That would be sorely missed. And I think that's one thing that makes the Raiders a tough offense. It's because they're one of the few teams right now in the NFL that actually like uses the fullback, not like has like a couple plays in there where they need like a guy to be a lead back. Like they really use the fullback in like every single way imaginable. It's an extensive package, out of 21 personnel. So that just like that really like that'll cut what tell me I'm wrong. That cuts the playbook like almost in half if Alec Ingold isn't there, right?
Yeah, it does. Big time.
Yeah,
and they because even in this game they had to go straight 11 personnel, and then if it was 12, it was either 11, 12, or 13 at that point.
Yeah.
So
right. So yeah, that would be a shame. That would be a shame.
Sure. All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you guys listening. Hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. We appreciate all you guys. Like I said, we appreciate hitting it 2,000. We really appreciate all that love. So Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at the Mark John NFL. That's me at BD Williams 18. That's BD at BD Williams 18. I can get that out. I'll get it right. So yeah, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. We appreciate everything. You guys listening to this episode. So peace out. Enjoy it.
Yep. Later, guys.
Later.